Hey, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Carol's Daily Sauce. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click on the bell to be reminded of all of the videos that I upload. We're going to talk about trafficking, sex trafficking. Once again, I had a video that kept showing up in my recommendations. Now, I don't know if YouTube has a way of tracking the types of videos that you actually look at or what to find out what should be or what is recommended to you. But I had this young lady who had a channel. I believe her channel name is Asia Parish Japan. Beautiful young lady who had something to the effect on her video. YouTube wanted me to take this video down. So I was intrigued after about 8 or 9 times of seeing it recommended to me. My husband and I had already watched a trafficking movie about 2 weeks ago on, I believe, Amazon Prime, because Amazon Prime does have movies. We just found that out. If you guys don't know that, Amazon Prime, if you have Amazon Prime, you can actually download Amazon onto your devices and connect it to your TV, and the movies you can watch through Amazon Prime on your TV. So we found a couple of good movies from there. But back to the subject at hand with the trafficking, sexual trafficking. So I didn't do a lot of research on trafficking. It is a very sensitive subject for me, as I hope it's sensitive to a lot of people, because if it's sensitive to people, that lets me know that there's awareness about it. In viewing this young lady's video, I later found out that she and her mother had gotten into a very vicious argument. This young lady at the time was 12 years old, and her mother had kicked her out of her home with no shoes on. I believe the young lady lived in Vegas. To make a very long story short, the young lady hooked up with a friend who in turn hooked her up with another friend who was actually a male, and the male ended up grooming this young lady and another friend to become products of a sex trafficking scheme. She and her friend were sold for $1,000. And basically the reason I'm discussing this is something that has been going on for many years. It is something that needs to be stopped. I want to bring awareness to it, number one, because I've been seeing it coming up a lot in the headlines on YouTube. I see it coming up a lot on Instagram. I see it also coming up a lot on Facebook. And excuse me, there are pictures that are being surfaced through Messenger, basically telling you the types of things to look out for. You know, I mean, there's even this little thing that people are saying, be leery of big white boxy vans, because if you go to a place, particularly don't travel at night and don't park in between vans, because what will end up happening is once you get out of your car, they jump out the van and then they snatch you. The bottom line is this: women, men, boys and girls, all can be trafficked. Everybody. There is no nationality. There is no age. We can all be victims of this crazy, devilish sin. We all can. And I think that the most important thing is being aware. The most important thing is being aware, number one, of your surroundings, being aware when you drop your young people, your children off, your grandchildren off at school, not only telling them that it's not good to talk to people, but just telling them that it's not good to stand out alone. I play bingo, and in the city where I live and I play bingo, obviously there are security cards in the building. Well, I drive, I have a license, but I don't like to drive. So my husband usually drops me off. When it's over, I stay inside the building until my husband pulls around and I see him come pick me up. We have to be aware of our surroundings. We have to be aware of who it is that we talk to. For instance, let me show you guys something that happened to me the day before Thanksgiving. My husband and I went into Goodwill. I love a good Goodwill haul. And towards the beginning of the year, a lot of times people are purging and getting rid of things in preparation for the things that they may receive as gifts or things that they may purchase, but they're purging. So we went into Goodwill, and when we went into Goodwill, what ended up happening is I was walking around looking at things. I picked up a couple of things, but I have a habit of using terms of endearment to my husband at church. I have a habit of doing it in the grocery store. I have a habit of doing it wherever, because that is how my husband and I talk to one another. So basically, I call my husband when we're in the Goodwill, babe. I said, babe, babe. So I'm walking around saying, babe. And the last time I had looked up, my husband was on the right hand side of me. And when I looked up and I said, babe, I want you guys to know that I was saying babe to somebody that I didn't even know. And literally he said to me, I said, oh, when I looked him in his face and I went, oh, you're not babe. He said, oh yeah, here I am. So we just have to be careful. That right there was a little gesture, a little something where somebody was basically playing. But he was like, here I am, I'm right here. Yeah, I'm babe. I said, no, you are not my husband. And I looked at him and walked away. But listen to this. Think about if I were shopping alone, okay? And even if I didn't say babe, think about if I was shopping alone and my head was down and I looked up and somebody was in my face or something, just hypothetically speaking. And then this person walks off, okay? I go outside, and once I go outside, this person is in the parking lot. I don't know this person. I don't know this person's character. I don't know what this person is up to. We have to be aware of our surroundings. We need to be aware of our communications with folks. And it is our responsibility to teach our children. Don't talk to everybody. Don't be nice to everybody. You know what I mean? My husband always tells me, you're too nice. You're too nice to everybody. I have a habit of saying all the time that I don't meet a stranger anywhere. You guys, I did want to also indicate that I have included some pictures in this audio. And one is a picture of apps that are well-known apps that are kind of easy access for predators to be able to connect and speak to your underage children. I've also just take a look at this video and share this video out. Y'all, we need to end this. You know, I realize that people say that prostitution is the oldest profession in the world. And I'm not going to say my piece or speak my piece on it. I'm going to leave that part alone because that's not what this is about. But when you start including underage people in that world oldest profession and they don't want to be involved in that, they are too young to make that decision, that is when it becomes a problem. So I just wanted to say that. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I had to stop the recording and go do something. But basically, my purpose in doing this recording is just to put great importance on, number one, communication with our children, if you are still raising children. Also, good communication with our grandchildren, if you're raising your grandchildren. I told my husband today, and I always say stuff to him, y'all. I don't have a lot of friends. Technically, he is my friend. And I said, if I had to do it all over again, though I love my children, I wouldn't have kids in the world today because the world is so conflicted and crazy. And this young lady was just talking about how she and her friend were literally sold for $1,000, taken to a totally different part of the state that she lived in. The young lady that she came with became very acclimated with the lifestyle. She liked the fact that she could make money. She liked the fact that she could be on her own and make her own decisions. I believe she was a couple of years older than Asia Paris. That's what I'm going to call her. And so, anyway, this young lady, even just watching her and her telling the story, you could see that there was a lot of hurt. You could see that she's still trying to heal from it. I did hear her make mention that she does have a son. So hopefully there is some healing coming into place. But when you look at the video, you can see her kind of looking off, almost kind of going down memory lane. Down memory lane, remembering the things that happened to her. She did mention that there were some things that she wouldn't wish on people that have said the most rudest things in comments to her. But she wanted to let everybody know it's not a game for people to be kidnapped. It's not a game for people to be sold into sex trafficking. It's not a game. It's not something where they go to Japan, where they go to Germany, where they go to Indonesia and pick up these women. People are getting these young ladies from the United States, states within the United States. This is not something that's just on the TV and something that they made up. It's something that is happening every single day. And sadly, young girls as young as 9 years old have been caught up in this lifestyle. I remember that I did look on YouTube, and that's probably why I got the recommendation, because I did read about a young girl who had got up and got caught up in the trafficking situation. And maybe that's why YouTube showed it as a recommendation. But just be very careful. Be very careful of who you befriend, even in email. Be very careful of who you befriend on the internet. Very careful of who you befriend in the gym, in the grocery store, everywhere you go. Everybody, I hate to say it. I hate to say it as much as I love people. Everybody is a potential suspect. Everybody. You have to be careful who you befriend, especially if you are a single woman, especially if you are a single woman living in your home by yourself. Trafficking is no joke. There are some men out there and some women who desire to have young people to meet their sexual needs. And as a result of it, they will literally pay for a service. So just be careful. I read about somebody on YouTube who actually had gotten caught up in it, and the person who actually offered it to her came to her telling her that she wanted the young lady to come to a prayer Bible study class with her that they were having every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. So this young lady gets caught up in this, and when she goes to go to the Bible study one day that she had off of school, because they tend to hang around a lot around the college students, around the colleges, and around the little baristas where young people hang out, college towns and things of that nature. And so the young lady ended up hooking up with a girl that she had met, and the young girl called her and she said, oh yeah, we're still having the Bible studies, just meet me at such and such and such, gave her an address and everything. And so the girl said, okay, I'm off. I'm going to go ahead. You said it's at 7:30. She said, yeah. She said, I'll see you there. She hung up the phone. Do y'all know that this young lady went to that place, and when she went there, the building was all closed up. Nobody was there. So she decided that she was going to call the girl. The girl said, oh yeah, it's okay. Go to the back. She went around the back, and when she went towards the back, there was a man that was smoking a cigarette. She asked the man if they were having Bible study. The man told her, I don't know nothing about that. Turned around and continued to smoke his cigarette. So she in turn called the young lady who had invited her to the Bible study. And the young lady said, they're there, just keep knocking on the door. But a gut feeling. See, sometimes we say, I had a gut feeling, I had an intuition, I had this. No, God is trying to tell you to get out of there. So there was a convenience store across the street. She went to go and get her something to drink. And she said that she was going to ask the guy that was working at the convenience store about the building. And so she asked him, and she says, you see that building over there? He said, yes. She said, do you know whether they have Bible studies over there on Tuesday and Thursday nights? And he said, ma'am, that building has been closed for the last 4 years. Nobody goes over there. He said, you be careful going over there. So that let her know that she needed to get her hips on back to that dorm and stay away from that building. So she tried to call the young girl, and the girl never answered her. And so she put the girl on block. The girl began a couple of weeks later to continue to call her. I want you to know that she looked on her Facebook page, I believe it was a month after she had connected with a girl, and she found out they had a piece of paper with these 3 women, and it said, beware. And it was from the local police department, indicating that these 3 ladies had been coming up to people, inviting them to a Bible study, and that it was a sex trafficking ring. And that if in fact you are contacted or in connection with either of these ladies on this picture, please contact the local police. Y'all, we have to be careful. We live in a world that is wicked and unfortunately inundated with sin. And unfortunately, some people are not in this world to make the world better. Some people are only in this world to suffice themselves. Take care of your children, love on your children, protect your children, pick your children up when they have cheerleader practice, when they get out of band practice. Tell them don't talk to people. Don't be too friendly with anybody, because sex trafficking is real. I'm not saying be mean to people by no means, but what I am indicating is there is a such thing as being too nice. And before I got off earlier, I was telling you guys that I often say that I can never meet a stranger. The more I look at sex trafficking and how women and young girls and even young men are being snatched off of the face of this earth, never to be seen again, I do meet strangers. Yeah, I do meet strangers. Yes, I do. So to make a long story short about the young lady, Asia Paris Japan is her name. That's her channel name. She ended up being in captivity for some years. What ended up happening is her mother came and looked for her. The guys who were actually running the scheme ended up sending one of the young ladies out, an Asian lady, and she never returned. When the Asian lady didn't return, obviously they became very, very irritated, because when one person doesn't return, there's a good possibility that your scheme is about to be exposed, and they were angry about that. So what initially happened is they out of the blue got a phone call, and when they got this phone call, they went to go get the young lady. When they went to go get her, within 20 minutes, there was a knock at the hotel room door. And the young lady that was in the room with Asia Paris Japan ran into the bathroom. She was scared. She didn't know what to do. Come to find out, it was the authorities. They ended up coming in, and they literally looked at Asia Paris Japan, and they told her, "You've been missing. Your mom has been looking for you. Your mom actually came to this hotel room some months ago." They had that young girl wearing clothes that she was not old enough to be wearing. They had her wearing shoes that were too small for her, where the shoes were cutting into her feet and causing her to have blisters and bleeding. They had her wearing a lot of enticing clothes. So she eventually ended up becoming a sex slave for money. But to make a long story short, those gentlemen were arrested, and they were charged with sex trafficking. They were charged with several counts of pornography of a child. It was a lot of stuff that went down. But the one thing that I want to say in closing is this: it is our responsibility to protect the youth. Even if you know, a lot of times when people see things going on, nobody wants to get involved because they don't want the retaliation. Okay? I'm going to tell you this. If I see something with a child, I may not say nothing if I see something with an adult, because an adult is old enough and should be old enough to fight their own battles. But if I see a 10-year-old child looking like she drugged at a gas station, or she's drugged at a McDonald's or somewhere, and she's not looking right, or that she's dressed a little bit too seductively for a child of her age, that is the opportunity for you to intervene and say, "Hey, I don't really know what's going on, but I seen thus and so. Can you check this out?" I think we are obligated to do that as citizens of the United States. And for me personally, as a mother, as a grandmother, and as a child of God, I know that I would not be able to sleep if I seen someone in that type of danger and I didn't intervene. Educate your children on sex trafficking. Educate your grandchildren. Educate your wife. Educate your husband. Educate, educate, educate. It's real. People do get kidnapped, and people definitely are sold. Thank you so much for tuning in to Carol's Daily Sauce. Go ahead and drop some comments in the comment section. If there's some questions that you'd like to ask me, I'm not very, very, very knowledgeable. I read everything about everything that I find to be crazy, interesting, and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing just want to tell people, be careful, be careful. Everybody is a potential suspect, unfortunately. This is the world that we live in today. You all be blessed, be encouraged, and be strengthened. I will be praying for each and every one of you. God bless you. Bye-bye.